The images that I'll show you in this video are among some of my favorites that I've ever taken. Don't worry, the whole video isn't going to take place that far away. I'm just making sure that where I have the camera set up right now is actually the best vantage point for what I'm trying to do. With morning light and shooting directly into where the light is coming from, it's always a bit of a gamble. We're only really shooting gold 200, so that doesn't have a crazy amount of latitude, but one thing you can admit is this is very beautiful. And in a few minutes, I'm going to be late for the shot. We're out here at about 5:30 this morning, just before sunrise at Lake Thomas Edison. This is my first time being here, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I've got the Pentax set up right now. We're going to do a little bit of morning photography. Not something that I do a lot of, because who wants to get up this early? Ooh, the colors are really starting to get nice now, so maybe I stop talking to you and we start setting up camera a little bit. The colors were really interesting about 5 minutes ago, but I didn't really feel like taking that much of a silhouette shot. We might want to pop one off earlier than later at this point. See what we're looking at. I think we're going to go f8. f8 and 15th of a second. My little clicky boy here decided to not be a good boy, not lock in place. So we burned a shot of 120 last night to just complete darkness. But if the colors start doing something really crazy, I did bring out an extra roll of Portra for this morning. I'll probably take like 1 or 2 shots from this vantage point, and then we'll try to walk along the beach, get something else. This spot is just too good not to take the shot from. The way these peaks are just kind of curving together in this V shape, right about where the sun's gonna pop up. How do you pass that up? Gonna move that, gonna get a little closer to you. You're gonna be fine with it, I'm assuming. Man, my eyes are puffy this morning. It is so cold. I want to make sure that that tree is just outside of frame. Maybe 15-20 minutes ago. So dark out here. Let's give it a go. Let's at least get one. Not the best exposure, but things only get better from here. God, so satisfying. I don't exactly know what my idea is, but I really want to get some of these guiding lines going to the river. I was expecting this morning to have a bit more atmosphere in the air. Peaceful sound of the morning kept me excited and experimenting. So my thought process on this is trying to utilize a little bit of these rocks here down on the shoreline. Hey, we've made friends. Hi. No, all good.
You're not used to anybody else being up this time.
I guess.
He's a bark first, love
second. Yeah. What are their names?
That's Remington and Mocha.
Remington and Mocha. Good morning, guys. What was your name again?
I'm Jess.
Jess. Will, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet Will.
Will, yeah.
Nice to meet you, Will.
Let me go get you guys before these dogs knock you over. No, your dad's gonna miss you. Come on. All bark, no bite. It was nice to get his vantage of where he thinks the sun's gonna pop up, so maybe it's gonna pop up a little bit later. I love that he thought I was gonna get bird shots. I don't want to disturb other people's campsites, so I'm trying to get away. Let's walk down a little further and see what we can see. Yeah, and we're just at the perfect timing now. So I think we're gonna go down to 125. It was pretty crazy. As I was moving the cameras, one of those birds that Jess was talking about definitely dove down and got a fish. Would have been a cool shot, maybe. You know, you can never predict those things, and I wasn't here by the camera, so it is what it is. Still cool to see. I know there's gonna be a few of you in the comments that make fun of me, because, hey, aren't you the guy that uses your TT Artisan everywhere you go? Yes I am, but this Pentax grip, I'm a new owner of that, so I kind of forgot that I could mount that light meter to here. So yeah, I am still using my phone. What of it? Am I disconnected from the shot and the nature? Maybe a little bit. The sun is definitely about to peak. So if I'm gonna move, I should do it now. Yeah, I think that's gonna give a nice, just like scale of foreground. Okay. Yeah, because that's crazy. That's essentially my frame. And I think having that little bit of shrubbery that's growing out of the bottom, or it's just like a dead tumbleweed, I don't know what it is, but it gives such a better like sense of scale. I don't know, I'm so happy right now, and a part of me is like, I don't really care how the photos turn out, because this is just crazy to be at. A little POV for you guys, what it's like to be a bad photographer. We'll go down in the shadow as well, just to see. And that's going down all the way to 1/12 of a second. So I think we'll split that at 60. There's no shame in taking this shot right now. I don't know that it's as well composed, but man, as that sun peaks over, I almost never take direct into the sun shots. The light's leading directly to us. This one I might stop down to 250 actually. Oh, and it's going fast. Part of me is wishing I brought my sunglasses a little bit. Is that fishing boat going out right now? Yeah, I think we got that shot at just the right moment, right before this guy breaks up the water. No shame to him. This lake is for everybody. That's why we got up early. The glow on the trees right now is crazy. Oh, 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 oh. We got the boat. You've got this leading line, you've got the foreground, you've got the sun rising, you've got the peaks coming together, and you got this guy cutting straight through it. How do you not take that shot, even if it sucks? You know what's kind of funny? I forgot to take a shot with my phone. Well, that was kind of a different opening. Bit more meditative than I kind of run things on this channel, but I think we're going to lean into it for today. Last month, I took a trip up to Lake Thomas Edison, which you might not have heard of before, but it's sandwiched just between Sequoia and Yosemite National Park, somewhere I had actually never been before, but was able to predict its beauty just based on its location. The one-way road in, however, I feel is the real reason this place feels a bit more unknown to most national park goers. 18 miles of hoping each bend around the mountain wouldn't put you in a situation where one of us has to back up until there's a turnout for someone. Which I did have to do more than once. The roads are thin, the air is thinner, but the views are absolutely breathtaking. Thomas Edison Lake, or TE if you're one of the cool kids, is located in the Sierra National Forest of California, and it actually does have a pretty interesting history when it comes to the early developments of hydroelectric power. And no, that's not a new Marvel movie, but you would never think that looking at this place. In the late 19th century, California was experiencing so much expansion and growth in its cities, development of electricity on a much larger scale just became a major priority for everyone. Multiple dams and bodies of water were manufactured that trickled down the mountainside, creating a chain of naturally produced power. And since temperatures down in the valley were upwards of 115, swimming was definitely going to be a solution I was looking for. And I would just have to try really hard not to think about how there's big suction somewhere that could just take me down. Dams often have a designated no swimming zone listed, and I'm no Olympic athlete, so there's no way I'm getting anywhere close to these danger zone areas, but I still couldn't get that Willy Wonka chocolate tube scene out of my head for some reason. Our cabin we were set up in was perfectly named the Big Tiny, and this location on the campground was insane. You literally walked out onto the front porch and you were on the lake. First evening we got in just before sundown, which gave me a chance to pop off a few pictures and really decide which camera would be better for which setting, which was nice because I had a couple hours just before blue hour really hit. I love this shot of the inside of the cabin. Something really offhand and spontaneous, the lighting feels so magical and displays how lucky we were to be in this place for the next few nights. I took a couple shots as the sun dipped behind the horizon. At first I was really leaning into the mirrored effect of the peaks over the water, but a couple kids came in on some paddle boards and I had to adapt, and honestly I think they made for some really great subject matter on the pastel water. I mean, this might be my favorite shot of the whole trip, I don't know. My framing and composition could have been a bit more straight on, but the timing was everything when the water was so still. Just enough distortion from their paddle boats, but almost this mirrored effect all around it that creates like this circle in the water that I love. It turns out this camp location was actually an offshoot of the famous PCT, a pit stop destination for hikers to go off trail, rest up, eat some hot food, and maybe just relax a little bit. So the atmosphere was a bit of a mix between people that were on vacation and people that hadn't seen people in a while. But for me, it was a front row seat to the best sunset afterglow I think I've ever seen. Yeah, it was cold. It was like 54 this morning when I walked out of the cabin. Usually on this channel, I'm talking about something that I'm learning for the first time. This just felt like relaxing, just going through the motions, doing the stuff you know, but also trying out lower ISO film in situations like this that are so contrasty. And plus we got to meet dogs. Who doesn't want to hang out with dogs by a lake? I hope I'm not looking too much at the screen versus looking at the camera. I know that's an easy thing to fuck up. But, you know, there's a couple hikes you can go on over here. There's a ferry that takes the PCT hikers out. So we're going to take a few more shots throughout the rest of the day, see what other vantage points I can get to along this lake. a costume change of plans. I was originally thinking about taking the ferry over, which launches right out over here. They have one at 9, but that one was sold out already. They do have one at 10:30, but I found out that they're not going to pick you up from that side of the lake until about 4 p.m., which is an insane amount of time to spend on the other side. Maybe it would be worth it, but I mean, I want to get in the water. And if you hear me huffing and puffing, that is only because we're almost at 8,000 feet elevation. So coming from the beach cities to this in less than 24 hours it's quite a change. So instead of taking that ferry over, I'm just gonna walk kind of along the edge here. Brought my 16 to 35 and the 50, left the 85, which I might regret. It's really bright out here. I don't know. I also brought some Nestled 50D, which is kind of a similar look to XR. 50 ISO out here might be the move. Because the lake is so reflective, it's so bright. There's no clouds in the sky because it's already like 87 degrees. Which is crazy because like 2 hours ago I was cold. Look at the Nestled 50D. Superior 400 would be really good here because how much green and blue there is. But I think it's gonna look too similar to everything else I'm taking. So 50D. I could have brought the Nikon because I do have a lot of great lenses with that camera, but I really wanted to try and take some pictures with this 1635, which I've had for 10 years, I think. I used to use it in video work as well as digital work, so it's really interesting to see these more newer lenses and how they reflect on something like 35. This camera does have a pano, so it's the same as that little Minolta point and shoot. It's not really pano because it's still just like cropped on one single frame of 35, but it might be nice with how enclosed everything is and how like angular and long it all feels. There goes that ferry out there that I decided not to go on. Look at me now, suckers. I beat you. See, and that's just one of those happy accidents I was talking about. Having a person or familiar subject in the frame can really help just put an instant understanding to the photo instead of just like, yeah, I've seen a lake, bud. All right, now we find out if it was worth it walking all this way. It doesn't open up quite as much as I thought. Maybe at this point of the day, black and white would be a much smarter option. I'm just gonna hope that 50's got my back, you know? Just realized that I had the panel crop on for definitely a couple more shots than I intended. Later on the second night, I didn't really take as many pictures as I had the first evening. I made a fire, we had some cool drinks, and we just sort of took in the evening and the surroundings we were in. But you also know I took some long exposures on the Pentax, because I can't help myself. I'm not exactly convinced Kodak Gold is the best source of astrophotography gear, but I think it turned out awesome anyway. The question I sort of asked myself when I started this project was, how many pictures can you actually take of just one lake? And it turns out quite a bit. Between the tree line, the lake, and the lighting, this place was honestly a photographer's dream. Even the road out that next morning lent some really beautiful moments that continued to inspire me the further we drove down. I'm walking away from this trip with a handful of standout images that really might be contenders for the portfolio or the print shop. I think the hardest thing about landscapes are just making a great photo out of something that's already there. At a certain point, you start feeling like you're taking the same photo, just slightly different. The thing that's kicking me is how often do you get a lake like this to yourself? There is the beach over by the campgrounds where there are people, but for the most part, I could walk around this whole lake and not find a single person, which is great, terrifying, and I don't know. Maybe don't do these walks. Why do I do all these videos alone? This destination really provided the perfect backdrop for that landscape itch that I had been having for a few weeks. Or maybe that was just the water.